So hi guys, welcome to Monstrous Lovers. My first thoughts upon looking at this menu screen is that it's kind of boring. It's trying to look like an old horror flick movie or something with being black and white. And I remember it used to be in color in the demo, but now it just looks even more boring now than it used to, right? Yeah, honestly, it really is a boring menu screen. But let's just start the game. And there's a little problem when we start the game that I encountered when I was making sure that everything was fine with this game. So let's go ahead and get right into it. You'll see what the issue is. Will this be posted? Yes, I always post my live streams later on. Anyway.
¿Estás seguro de que quieres hacer esto? Una vez que firme la notificación, no hay vuelta atrás.
See, that's a little bit of the problem there. They're speaking in Spanish. The voice acting is in Spanish. It didn't say that on the itch page. I don't think it did. All it said was it was done by professional voice actors. No one told me it was Spanish voice actors. So my question is, do I just turn off the voices? Is that what I do? If you're trying to look like a horror flick, add some grainy filter and old-timey spotlights. Yeah. So I'm thinking, maybe I turn off the voices. I'm not sure.
Tienes una carrera brillante por delante, Wells. Sería una lástima dejar que se desperdicie.
Am I gonna play the Patreon Cove moment? Yes, much later on. Several months from now.
Voy a ser honesto. San Jorge es un callejón sin salida. Hay una buena razón por la cual nadie quiere trabajar ahí.
Okay. So, let's experience the Spanish voice acting. You'd enjoy it more with the voices off?
Sí, estoy seguro. Lo he estado pensando por bastante tiempo.
Oh. Hey Queens, hey Makahadama. Also, this game does have some love scenes in it. I had to download a whole patch for it, but I don't think they come until the very end. I think there's only like one per character, so. This is the first BL game you heard with Spanish. Espanol. Okay. Girl, did you suddenly start learning Spanish? No, honey, no. So, yeah, I don't know. I still really should I turn it off? It feels like such a slap in the face to all these voice actors.
No me uní al departamento de integración para estar atrapado en un trabajo de escritorio. Y si me quedo aquí, un trabajo de escritorio será todo lo que voy a tener.
No, that was a lot of words for that one sentence. Okay.
Señor, por favor, ya he tomado una decisión.
You missed my Saturday games? I missed you too.
Bien, si insistes. Pero no digas que no te lo advertí.
Alright. Well, when my request to be transferred to St. George was approved, I couldn't contain my excitement. I should turn it off and ad-lib in Spanish yourself. What does that mean? You want me to start talking in Spanish? Oh, Mereson. I don't know words. Pendejo. I think that's all the Spanish I know. Anyway. St. George is a relatively small town near the coast, famous for having a higher population of monsters than of humans. It's not the only one of such places to exist, but it's the only one big enough to have a DOI office of its own. All in all, a natural choice for someone in my line of work. Or so I thought. To be frank, I'm beginning to have second thoughts right about now. Okay, I think I'm gonna turn it off then. Convincing my boss, as hard as it was, turned out to be the least of my problems. When word about my transferal began to spread, even the people who supported me from the beginning wouldn't stop urging me to reconsider. Yep, Dios mio. Dios effing mio. Let's see. I guess just voice volume down. Okay, well, my turn. Biblioteca es aquí, pendejo. When the word about my transferal began to spread, even the people who had supported me from the beginning wouldn't stop urging me to reconsider. We learned some Spanish from Alpha Hole Prison. We'll be fine. Absolutely. Mierdra. I know that one. I know that one. No one had thought that I would actually go through with it, but seeing a signed paper made them realize I was being serious. Then, to make things worse, I simply couldn't find a place to stay at all. The few hotels in town fill up months in advance, and even as a government employee, it was impossible to find someone willing to rent to a human on short notice. In the end, I was lucky enough to have someone from the St. George office offer to let me stay with them in the meantime, but... what could be taking them so long? I glanced at my phone. They're almost an hour late. I was both so happy about having gotten a place and in such a hurry to make sure everything was ready that I barely got any information about this person. Frankly, not one of my smartest moments. Oh, is this the cute vampire man? I wouldn't worry too much. Cute guys like you don't get stood up. Startled by the sudden noise behind me, I clutched my foot to my chest as if my life depended on it. I keep touching my lips because there's a hair on it, and I can't get it off. Alright. Hello there, sir. You're looking very pale in the sunlight. Does the sunlight not hurt you? When I turn around, oh, that music is really getting off the ground. It's, let's keep it a little bit more on the ground, why don't we? There you go. When I turn around, I see what appears to be a vampire leaning against the back of the bench. He's grinning like he hadn't just scared the hell out of me, or worse yet, like he found it amusing. After a few seconds pass and he doesn't make any sudden movements, I realize that I'm not about to get mugged, and I allow myself to relax a little. Can't wait to see who's gonna get a southern accent. No one. Probably. Who? Before I can actually... aw, look at him. He's such a soft boy. Before I can actually say anything, though, he walks around the bench and sits down next to me. Right next to me. In fact, he's so close that our knees touch for a second before I move my leg away. Oh my god, see? He's such a precious boy! So love, are you new in town? Stranger danger? No, there's no stranger and there's no danger. Did I hear that right? No, it must have been my imagination. Excuse me? I've got a great memory when it comes to pretty faces, and I'm sure I've never seen you around. Oh god, I did. He's hitting on me. Not sure about what else to do. I look down at my phone and pretend to be busy, hoping that he'll get the hint and leave. Are you waiting for someone too? Maybe we could wait together. Oh, you guys know what I heard? I heard that Sensations is supposed to release... Oops, I skipped a line. I heard that Sensations is supposed to be released on July 30th. Girl, that's so close. I'm excited. Anyway, Instead of getting discouraged, he leans forward, obviously trying to catch a glimpse of the screen. Now he's not only invading my personal space, he's actually also practically leaning against me. British. Someone will be British, don't you worry. Starting to get annoyed, I move aside and pick up my things before getting up. But before I can walk away, the vampire stands up, almost jumping off the seat. Wait, almost jumping out of the seat before he hurries to block my path. Wait, don't go. I'm sorry, we don't get many humans around here and I got a little carried away. Aw. Let's start over, alright? I'm Vincent. He offers me his right hand. Why would we run away from this? He's beginning to make me uncomfortable, but by now it's become obvious that ignoring him won't make him go away. I shake his hand? Yes, we'll touch him. Christopher Wells. He looks very pleased with himself all of a sudden after having heard my name. I try to remember where I might have seen his face before. I'm pretty sure we haven't met before. I definitely remember someone with this kind of attitude. You love becoming a blood bank? Especially a monster. Unless he is... No way. I'm sorry, do we know each other? Not really. I work at the Department of Integration. So you are him, right? Oh god, he is. I nod hesitantly as I get an idea of where the conversation is headed. This is great. When I was told that a human would be coming over from the capital, I imagined some stuffy old guy. You are so much better. Clearly your character is a vampire racist? No, he wouldn't. He works at the Department of Integration. He can't be a racist. No one that works in the government is ever racist. You are so much better. Did I already read that? As he continues speaking, I can almost feel the blood drain from my face. I do my best to smile, but all I manage is a weird combination of the frown I had until now and an expression of complete embarrassment. Thankfully, if Vincent notices, he doesn't mention it. Your things should be getting here tonight. I imagine you will want to report to the office in the meantime. Some of his best friends are undead. After that, we can go home so you can check the place out. Sounds good? Yeah, sounds good. In hindsight, I should have expected something like this to happen. I didn't stop to consider what kind of person would agree to let a stranger from another city live with them so easily, not even when I finally got around to worrying about all the other details. But it doesn't matter, I'm here now, and we're stuck together for the time being. Vincent puts an arm around my shoulders, and before I can react, he pulls me closer to him with one swift move. Imagine talking to someone and they just stay in that hair combing pose. Ah! Well then, let's go. We're not far. We stay in more or less the same position the whole way to the office. At one point I try to slip away, but the only thing I manage to lose my footing and get him to hold me even more tightly against him. Why are we being so hard to get? I hope this character isn't straight at the start of the game. Like, is this heterosexuality getting in the way, or what? I don't know. The Department of Integration's office here in St. George is quite different from what I'm used to. This building is mostly brick and steel, dating back from the time when it was also used as a shelter and community kitchen. Meanwhile, the office of the Capitol was in a huge skyscraper built just for it, a monument to modernity and unity. Well, welcome to Vampire number 2. As we approach Vampire number 2, I meant Monster number 2. Did I say Monster? As we approach, a man standing by the door catches my attention. He's covered in bandages from head to toe and he's wearing very flashy clothing. Against the dull color of the building, he sticks out like a sore thumb. He also seems pretty upset about something. His arms are crossed and he keeps tapping his feet impatiently against the floor. Maybe he's waiting for the office to open. When Vincent notices him, he stops suddenly, bringing me to a halt as well. I swear, that guy doesn't have a life. Vampirism is a cure for heterosexuality? Oh my gosh, I hope so. Who is he? That's Sebastian, the supervisor. I assume this was Vincent's day off, and that was the reason he was dressed in street clothes when he came to pick me up. But after seeing this other guy... Why does the pink-haired one look like Yuri from Yuri-chin? Please don't mention that. How dare you? That was a really disgusting one from that anime, wasn't it? Wait for me here, won't you? I already read that. Yeah, you know what, Jonathan? I actually talk to Miko-kun on a daily basis, and he informs me about the status of the game and its estimated release date every single day. So, yes, I do know about when Camp Buddy is going to be released. I personally, and only me, know that. Vincent doesn't give me the opportunity to say anything else. In fact, he's not even looking at me anymore as he finally takes his arm off his shoulders and hurries to meet Sebastian. At first, I stay put like Vincent told me to, but as the conversation gets louder and angrier, I no longer feel comfortable just looking from afar. By the time I decide to get closer, they're practically yelling at each other. Yuri-chan is disgusting. I mean, do you need the /S? Can we just delete that? They're both engrossed in their argument, so engrossed in their argument that they barely notice me as I approach. Oh, okay, so voices. What voices do we give him? Whoa, damn. I think, a little bit of a British. It's Tuesday, innit? What did I tell you about bringing more of your friends here? He's not. Whatever. I'm sure he can introduce himself. You're late enough as it is. You don't like that anime, but he looks like gross Yuri. Stop. Anyway, but you're still here. Go. Fine, fine, I'm going already. Give him an Aussie accent. I don't know how to do an Aussie accent. I can only do it for a couple seconds when I'm saying, put another shrimp on the barbie. See, I can't do it. That's the only Aussie thing I can do. Do it for Red Chan? Oh my god, I would love to make Red Chan proud, but I would have to practice. I hope Wrong Number comes out soon. I'm looking forward to that. I love Red Chan and their games. Anyway. I said now. He gives Vincent a hard shove towards the door. At least he tries to. There is a considerable difference in strength between them, and as a result, Vincent barely budges. Laughing, Vincent turns around and winks at me before opening the door and heading inside. Sebastian lets out a disgruntled groan and begins rubbing his temples before turning his attention to me. Now, where were we? Right, introductions. Whatever amount of patience he may have had, it's clear that he already spent it all on Vincent. I can't really blame him. I haven't even spent half an hour with Vincent. I'm beginning to get a little bit exasperated myself. What are you talking about? How can you have the best man in the game talk to us and you act like this? I take out the transfer notice from my pocket and hand it to him. My name is Christopher Wells. I just got transferred from the capital. I was told you had already been informed. He eyes the paper carefully, almost with suspicion, and then nonchalantly folds it in half. I see. I'm Sebastian Griffin. Come on in. This is no place to talk about it. Once inside, Sebastian begins to walk so fast that I can barely keep up. After almost losing him twice, I can't help but get the impression that he is trying to leave me behind on purpose. Luckily for me, the interior of the building isn't exactly that big, and we arrive at his office in a matter of minutes. Leaving the folded paper on top of the desk, Sebastian takes a seat. I notice that there's only one chair, so I'll have to remain standing, but since he didn't mention it, neither do I. Wells, right? Yes, Human Resources informed me about your request. Some people can't handle having all that sexy around them. However, I was very clear when I explained to them that we can't receive anyone at the time. That's not possible. The letter clearly says our budget is very limited. It's allotted months in advance. Unless you come with a very big check or are willing to work for free, that's just how it is. The earliest we could have you would be next year. I frown. After all the trouble I went through to get transferred, I can't go back just like this. Not now. It's one thing if it turns out that I'm not cut out for St. George after all, but if I didn't even get to try, I won't ever be able to live it down. If you put Kuro's afro on the MC, it looks like you IRL? Excuse me? You have an afro too? Yeah. I understand, but point out that it's not his choice, insist politely. Well, it's not your choice. If I have to pester this guy until he accepts it, so be it. At this point, I don't have a lot of patience left myself. Mr. Griffin, the orders come straight from the director. We both know that if I go back, I'm just going to end up here again, and next time it'll be me and a very angry letter from the head of human resources. For a moment, Sebastian says nothing. He looks pensive, I guess, but less like he's considering what I just said and more like he's trying to think of a way to tell me to get lost. Finally, he lets out a groan. Let's see you put your money where your mouth is. We were told to help update the town's registry a while ago, but I can't spare the people for just a housing and population census. If you write a proposal that isn't horrible and help me get everything ready without screwing up, I'll see about making a room for you. You'd have until your first payment is due, so until the end of the month. I nod. I'll worry about the details later. For now, what matters is that I've got the job. I will do it. He waves a hand in a dismissive gesture. Just make sure I don't regret it. You'll begin with that tomorrow. For now, go to the warehouse and pick up whatever you need to get sell from there. With all due respect, Mr. Griffith, give job me hungry. After that, you can come help me with this week's paperwork. Paperwork? Unless you have a problem with that. No, I'll be right back. Turns out that the warehouse is right behind the office, so it doesn't take me long to find it. However, once I'm there, it's a completely different story. As I step inside, the first thing I notice is that the interior is so dark that I can barely see what's in front of me. There's a window on the door big enough to let some light through, but at this hour it's pretty much useless. Maybe the office used to have a daytime shift when they first opened and then moved to a night one to better accommodate monsters. Or maybe the warehouse was used to be something else and it was repurposed. My father will know about this. How's this institution run? We just walked in and it's a mess. Either way, as I fumble for the light switch, my hand suddenly touches something cold and smooth. Uh-oh. It's a vampire pee-pee. Damn. Hello. When the light comes on, I find myself facing some sort of, android. I think. He doesn't really look like any monster I've seen before, and with some of the monsters, you can't really be sure until they tell you. And I'm definitely not going to ask someone I just met about 5 seconds ago. Realizing that her fingers are still touching, I move my hands away. He stares at me with a raised eyebrow for a moment, as if deciding what to do. How do you get the 18 patch for this game? You downloaded on itch. This area is off limits for visitors. Please return to the main building. Mannequin? Yeah, he's a mannequin. His voice has a mechanical ring to it, like text being read aloud by a voice synthesizer. It's not unpleasant, but it's exactly how I'd expect an android to sound like. If you are unable to find the way back by yourself, I can accompany you. Oh, sorry. I'm not a visitor, I'm an employee. I just started today. Look at that, Pinocchio. My name is Christopher Wells. Nice to meet you. Duly noted. You can call me Isaac. How may I help you, Christopher? Mr. Griffin sent me to get some things. Do you know where the office supplies are? He looked hot, but he also looked like he'd be so smooth down there, not anatomically correct. He nods, and instead of pointing, he makes an open-handed gesture towards the line of shelves in front of us. It almost makes me feel as if I was about to get a guided tour of the place. Of course. Please, follow me. Every few steps, Isaac turns his head to check if I'm still behind him. However, because he looks at me without actually saying anything, we soon fall into a very uncomfortable silence. I guess I clear my throat to get his attention. So, what do you do here at the DOI? I'm in charge of the organization and maintenance of the warehouse and its contents. Really? I've always thought that the people at the warehouse had one of the most interesting jobs, right after field agents. How do you like it? I find that my abilities are well suited for it. I wait for a moment for him to continue speaking, but he doesn't. Okay then. Have you been working here for long? As of today, a month and 3 days. Fortunately, I don't have to think of something else to say as Isaac finds what he was looking for right then. A big cardboard box with a label that reads stationery. After placing the box on the ground, he takes out a pen and a piece of paper from the inside and then hands it to me. Here it is. Please write your name, department, and everything you plan to take out. Then sign on the line. Don't we have some sort of electronic form? He shakes his head. Paper only. Being told as much by an android feels bizarre, but I resist the urge to make a comment. Since I technically don't belong to any department yet, I just put down the pending sign and begin shuffling through the box's contents with my free hand. Let's see. Pen, pencil, stapler, correction, liquid. That'd be all. Thanks, Isaac. You are welcome. Feel free to inform me if you require further assistance. Having gotten everything I need, I head back to Sebastian's office as quickly as I can. The first thing I notice is that though there's still only one chair, there's now a metal bench for me to sit on too. It doesn't look comfortable at all, but I suppose it's better than being left standing up. I take my place at the other side of the desk and we get to work. Much to my dismay, the rest of the night turns out to be incredibly dull. Although I have to admit that it's nowhere near as bad as it was back in the capital, where the bulk of my work consisted of checking forms and reports that were more a bureaucratic requirement than an actual necessity. It's still paperwork, and there's lots of it. On the plus side, Sebastian seems rather pleased by the fact that I'm already familiar with most of the procedures, so he doesn't have to waste any time explaining them to me. Is it? I look up. He's staring at me so intensely that I can practically feel him burning holes in my head with his eyes. Even with his glasses on, it's pretty intimidating. Sorry, could you repeat that? I asked whether it's true that you'll be staying with Vincent. It is. Keep the details to yourself. I don't need them. Since you'll be living together, I have a favor to ask you. I want you to do everything you can to make sure that Vincent arrives on time from here on. His tone makes it sound more like an order than a request. Either way, it would probably be better for everyone involved if these two had one less reason to argue about. I'll do my best. Good. Sebastian stands up and opens one of the drawers, taking a small key out of it. That would be all for today. You can go home. Be here at 7. The first person to arrive is in charge of opening, so I'm giving you a spare key just in case. He hands it to me, and as I take a closer look and see that the DOI symbol, engraved on the side, I realize that this is what I'm supposed to use to open up with, obviously. Between this and the fact that they are still using paper forms to track inventory, I realize he wasn't joking when he said that St. George runs on a very limited budget. In the capital, even the least important rooms have long had their locks exchanged for either card or fingerprint readers. Putting away the key in my pocket, I excuse myself and go looking for Vincent. You wonder what he sounds like in the Spanish dub? Same, kind of. After a couple of minutes of looking around the office, I end up in the break room. Since Vincent wasn't with Sebastian and me, he wasn't in the warehouse with Isaac, and I didn't see him at the front desk. He just leaves the break room. And field work, I suppose, but it's not like I can go look for him out there. Oh, there he is. Good. Oh, why does he look sad? Baby. Vincent is sitting at one of the tables, speaking with someone on the phone. Whatever they're talking about, it must be serious because he looks pretty focused on it, and he's even frowning a little. No, they like to talk big, and they won't bother. Your papers are in order, I checked. Look, if you're really that worried, just slip them a 20 and they'll leave. Well, that definitely sounds like something I should be listening to. Right as I'm about to leave, Vincent notices me and gestures me to take a seat. I try to let him know that I can wait until he's done, but he pretty much ignores me and just repeats the gesture, this time more insistently. Stop by whenever you have time and we'll talk about this in person, alright? I gotta go. Chris, how did it go? Come on, sit down. I pull a chair and sit down next to him. He immediately puts his hands under his own chair, then lifts it up to close the gap between us. It went fine. Are you done yet? I'm exhausted. I feel a little bad for leaving out the details, but I don't want to discuss it right now. I quickly change the subject. Sorry, not even close. I have a lot of work to catch up with, and since Sebastian leaves at 9, I have to stay until then at the very least. So soon? 9 in the morning. I see. Do you need help? What? No. You go ahead and leave. He stands up and walks towards one of the shelves, taking out a small card and scribbling something on the back. Can you believe that Sebastian makes us keep these around, with our cell phone numbers and everything? I'd like to see him pick up a call sometime. He'd probably end up yelling at the poor soul on the other end. He sneers, shaking his head as he continues to write. Anyway, this is my address. It's the first house on the 13th. No way you can miss it. You'll be staying in the guest room, but make yourself at home. Your things should be there by now. Also, be sure to grab something to eat on the way there. It's been a while since I've had someone who actually eats stay over. Oh, God. Where do you get your blood, sir? I've got some things in the fridge, but nothing you'd want to try. Trust me on that. He slides the card on top of the table, and I pick it up to take a look at it. Just like he said, it has his name and number, and then there's a scribble on the back that I assume is meant to be a map. The instructions are simple enough, but I can't help frowning at the idea that I have to walk all the way there alone. The entire point of meeting Vincent before coming to work was so that he would show me the way to his house. Suddenly, his phone begins to ring. I suppose that's my cue. See you later, Vincent. See you later, love. Oh, yeah. I know, but you aren't the only one who calls me. I didn't really notice before because I kept getting distracted by Vincent, but now that I'm alone, I realize that I get a lot of stares. Maybe he's a Twilight vegetarian. I suppose it's normal given that I'm one of the few humans here, and I don't mind most of them, but there's been a couple that have made me glad that my shift ends when the sun's already risen and not in the middle of the night. Maybe I'm exaggerating. It's probably just my imagination. I end up taking Vincent's advice and I stop at the grocery store on the way to his house. I'm not surprised to find that most of the things there are meant for monsters, going from the relatively mundane, like claw clippers, to the more uncommon, like flavored blood substitutes. In the end, I settle for some raw beef, figuring that it should be safe enough to eat once it's properly cooked. Just as I step outside, now carrying a plastic bag with everything I bought, I hear someone yell in my direction. Let me take a little sip of... Oh, shit! I was saying, let me take a little sip of water. Then I almost knocked my water bottle all over the place. Alright. Alright, what voice should I give this guy? I already know who it is. Chonky Blood? Watch out. We can give him a deep voice. I mean, he's a big man. A huge wolf, almost the size of a bear, suddenly appears from the corner. Before I have the chance to react, it knocks me out and all my things down as it runs past. The fall leaves me dizzy, and it's enough to tear an opening into the plastic bag. Soon its contents end up scattered all over the floor, now ruined. I'm too tired to even get angry. When I look up, I see another figure approaching. It's moving at a considerable speed, but not nearly as fast as the wolf. It's like a person running. Hello. It's not until the figure gets closer that I'm able to get a clear look, and I realize that it's a werewolf, and one who bears a striking resemblance to a wolf at that. He stops right in front of me, a worried expression on his face. Are you alright? Did she hurt you? Do you need to go to the hospital? He's talking so fast and he's breathing so heavily between words that I have trouble understanding him. I shake my head and he sighs, visibly relieved. Good, I'm so sorry about that. Here, let me help you. He offers me a hand, and right as I take it, He offers me a hand, and right as I take it, helps me get up with a swift movement that leaves my arm hurting more than the fall did itself. He big? This guy really doesn't know his own strength. Ouch. That was my sister. She has too much energy for her own good. I swear, sometimes she's a little beast. That's not racist? That's not a racist, that's not a racist saying? She's a beast? He laughs, stopping as soon as he realizes that I'm not laughing with him. He clears his throat. It feels like a racial slur, right? He clears his throat and begins to rub the back of his neck, looking embarrassed all of a sudden. I'm Ben. Christopher, I'm kind of in a hurry, so... As I'm about to kneel down and pick up my things, Ben reaches out to put a hand on my shoulder to stop me. With my arm still aching from when he helped me up, I instinctively take a step back and he uses the opportunity to kneel down himself instead. Taylor Lautner was a sexier wolf? No. Let me. Either way, not only the hole in the bag makes it pointless to try to put anything back into it, but as soon as he lifts one of the beef packages, it begins to leak. We're both far enough to avoid getting stained by the liquid when it splashes, but just barely. Being raw meat, the puddle it forms is a dark red and it looks disgusting as a result. Damn, it's ruined. It's fine, really. I do my best to make it sound like it's not a big deal so I can go ahead and leave, but it doesn't seem like it's working. Are you sure? I open my mouth to speak, but this time he doesn't even wait for me to answer before continuing. It's okay, he can reclaim it. I guess beast is a reclaimed werewolf word. I've got it. Come eat with me and my sisters, that way I can make it up to you properly. It's not necessary. This is beginning to feel like the conversation I had with Vincent all over again, except there's less touching. Please, I insist, it's the least I can do. Don't you have to go looking for your sister? He shakes his head. No, the thing with pups is that if you don't catch them right away, they just keep running for as long as you keep chasing them. It's like a game for them. She's bound to notice that I stopped any time now, and as soon as she does, she'll get bored and go home. I live right around the corner, so it won't take too much of your time. 20 minutes at most. What do you say? We're headed in the same direction then. I guess. St. George's streets aren't that big, so even if we aren't next door neighbors, chances are that we still live pretty close to each other. That means that we're going to end up walking in the same direction regardless of whether I accept or not. And he's probably going to keep trying to convince me all the way there. And then it's going to be awkward the next time we see each other. Why would we see him again? Fine. I think I can spare 20 minutes. Great, you'll love it, I promise. Alright guys, but unfortunately, this is exactly where I'm going to have to end this episode. Because I'm out of time. I have some stuff to do, and I apologize that the stream started 45 minutes late today. I'll try to only be 30 minutes late next time. But thank you all for coming by. And I'll see you on the next live stream. Bye.